Warning, I'm just having fun with old cars. I hope you get some tips and a good laugh from watching, but don't do what I do on your projects.
What is up, everybody? We're not starting a video driving a car today. Mainly because I didn't want to get this thing hot before I worked on it. So, I kind of had to... I was really hoping to go look at a vehicle today, but nobody will respond to me on Marketplace. Not that I have the need or money for another project, but anyway, none of that matters because it's probably not going to work out. So I decided, I've got this hot rod all jacked up on jack stands, and we're going to do some, my nose is itchy. We're going to do some maintenance on this thing. Something I'm not very good at. So obviously, since I put it together, I've just been putting some miles on it. I don't know what it's got on it now. I haven't been keeping track, but it's got over 100 miles for sure, easily, since I put it together. So I'd like to go through and kind of nut and bolt it, and in that time I've also found some things I need to get sorted out. The fuel gauge doesn't work, which it's not a make or break deal, but it is a inconvenience, especially I don't know, it just would be nice if it did work. And I feel like it's got a new sending unit in it, so it should work. So we'll look into that. When I bought this motor, I was told it was hurt and that it had oil pressure issues and stuff. So I just put cheap Rotella T4 diesel oil in it just to kind of see the condition of it. And so far it runs great. Knock on wood. It'll probably break down now that I said that. So I got us some Valvoline VR1. If you don't know, these old motors need zinc in the oil, and there's a couple brands that do it. I've run VR1 for a long time. Story time. I used to work on ProMod, NHRA legal ProMod deal for a few years, and believe it or not, Valvoline VR1 is what we ran in a 3,500, 4,000 horsepower blown Hemi deal. So that kind of sold me on it, even though I was using it before that. If it's good enough for that, it's good enough for all 175 horsepower I got here, right? Besides that, I want to adjust the emergency brake and then just kind of nut and bolt things. I may try to bleed the brakes with my little vacuum bleeder deal, because it needs it. And, yeah, we'll just see what we get into. I did also get, if you watched my last video, I got a new temperature gauge for the truck, and I also got this, which is, hang on, wait for it, get out of here. That is a mechanical fan spacer. I think I showed it in that video. I have a flex fan that I got for $5 at swap meet, and I think we're gonna try going that route because I am about tired of electric fans and wiring. So I don't know if we're gonna get to that today. Kind of depends on how long this takes, and I need to get some other stuff done today, so I need to get to work. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw that, but that drain plug was loose, so that's good. It wasn't leaking, so that's nice. runs right into the steering, so that's gonna be fun. It's kind of dumb, but I hate doing oil changes. I've yet to figure out a way to do it without making some kind of mess, even though I've been doing it for like 20 years now. Pretty sad, honestly. It's kind of funny, I was filling the oil filter up, and you know, I told you the story about how I used to work on a Pro Mod deal, and the smell took me right back to those days. And I'll probably talk about it more times throughout the years. I'll probably be the old guy talking about it, you know, back in my day. But honestly, besides my wife and my daughter, it was probably the coolest thing I ever did. So I'm gonna keep talking about it. The oil looks dirty for the amount of time that's on it, but this motor sat for a long time, so I'm not really surprised by that. I also did get it, I got the motor almost up to operating temperature before I drained it, so hopefully any sludge that was left in there or whatever kind of work its way out. It's another reason I didn't want to put good oil in it right off the bat, because I knew it wasn't gonna be in there very long, and there's no sense in dumping out expensive oil. Side note, if you're looking for VR1, my brother, Mr. One More Bolt, let me know about Walmart having it, and they have the best price by a pretty significant amount. I had to go to O'Reilly's to buy the filter, but they had the oil. So if you're looking for it, you will save money buying it at Walmart. The sound is making me have to pee. Let's get the filter off once this is done and see what that looks like. I got the oil out. Nothing too scary. Like I said, it's just dirty. The only concerning thing I found is this. Not quite sure how that got through the drain plug. Well, not even sure if it's on video, but if it is, you'll probably see it right now. I was doing really good at not making a mess right up until that point. But, pro tip of the day, always put cardboard under your drain pans when you're doing oil changes. Luckily I did that, and it caught most of the oil. Not all, but most. So, I'm gonna get this thing filled up with oil, I guess. I'm gonna show you that because it's the best part of having an old motor like this. I'll show you. I wish they hadn't done away with this. This is the crankcase breather, and also an oil fill tube right in the front of the motor. Nice and easy to get to. Just toss your funnel in there and don't make a mess. I like this so much that I'm actually constantly looking for an aluminum 4-barrel intake that has this breather tube, because I would like to put that on the C10, and then you can go to valve covers that don't have breathers in them, and I am a big fan of that. I just think it looks better. Personal preference, I guess, but a neat thing that I wish they hadn't gone away from, personally. So anyway, I'm gonna get this thing filled up with oil. hopefully it's not pouring out on the ground. And then yeah, we'll see what we get into next. Hello, it's me again. I apologize if you can hear the mower in the background. There's nothing I can do about it. The neighbors mow when the neighbors mow. So this deal here, hopefully you guys can see, is the emergency brake. This single cable goes inside the car to the handle, and then this cable here loops to the rear end on both sides. And currently we need to put a little coil on here, because I don't know when the last time this thing's been adjusted. Could have very well been the 60s. Basically, the emergency brake works pretty well in this car. You just have to pull the handle out a lot further than I would like. And I like using it because I live on a hill and this thing is a stick shift. So the biggest thing here is I gotta figure out what direction I need this to go, because I don't really know. So that's a thing. Let's think about this. These, I need them when we pull the e-brake. This goes this way. Do I have the right size wrenches? Aw, come on. Well, that was dumb. I knew I needed 1/2 inch, and I grabbed a 9/16 and a 1/2 inch. That wasn't very bright. Anyway, we need, these two cables need to pull further than they are now. So they need to be back. So we need to back this nut off and tighten this one. Right? Right. Sounds great. Maybe we can do this with 1 wrench instead of 2. Come on, coil. Do your stuff. Speaking of smells, I love the smell of coil. Don't like paying for it, but I like smelling it. That could go for a lot of different things, I guess. Anyway, we're talking about coil. Get your minds out of the gutter. I don't know how much is enough here. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm gonna set this right where it is right now and lock it down, and the next time I drive the car I'll see, or actually once I get it down on the ground I'll see how it is, and we'll go from there. On to bleeding brakes by myself. We'll see how that goes. So here's the setup. We got just a 5/16 wrench on the bleeder up here. We got a hose that comes to this, which comes to this. This is, I've showed it before on the channel, but if you haven't seen it, it's just a cheap Harbor Freight vacuum. It'll do a bunch of things, but I've used it mostly for brakes on this car actually. It works okay. If you have the budget or the time to order it on Amazon before you need it, get a better one. There's a lot of better ones out there, but it does get the job done. So all you do, you can see the vacuum gauge there. You pump it. Oh gosh, this is kind of difficult to do in film. I don't know if it matters how much vacuum you get, but you can see it's got vacuum on it. And you just pop your bleeder loose and hope you get fluid out, which we did not, so that's probably not good. Could be why my pedal felt very bad. and just pump it back up. See how much we can get for vacuum here. Hopefully you guys are seeing something. Come back up here and crack the bleeder and not get anything. So what's happening there? Huh? Let me, so long story short, I had to replace this brake line, kind of in a rush a few weeks ago, and I did not bleed the brakes after. So I have a feeling there's a ton of air in this thing. So it's gonna take me a couple tries probably to get fluid to come out. The pedal felt really bad, so I'm glad there's air in it. But I'm gonna do that, and then once I start getting it, fluid out of it, I'll show you, probably. Maybe? This is an awkward angle, isn't it? Okay, I think we're starting to get fluid now. Just barely. That's kind of how it starts. This is gonna take a while. Hey, next thing's next. Can you see me? How about now? Anyway, I want to get the fuel gauge working if I can. So we're gonna try and hit the basics here and see if we get it to work. The first thing I want to do is we're gonna check all the fuses and just make sure we have continuity between them all and none of them are blown. Not that I really think that's a problem, but it feels like the easiest place to start. And then we'll get under the car and kind of look at some stuff. We're just gonna be up in here where you guys can't see anything, checking all those. If you have a voltmeter, you just turn it to the one that makes the sounds. I'm not really an electrical guy, so I just I get by barely. But when you put it on the continuity, they should, oh, I'm looking in the right spot. Look over here. They should do that when the both ends of whatever you're touching are connected. And that's a good way to test fuses. I will try to show you, but I can't make any promises. You can kind of see. Okay, so we know that fuse is good. That fuse is good. That fuse is good. Also good. Also good. Okay, fuses are good. The next thing we'll do is get under the car. A lot of fuel gauge issues are ground problems, in my experience, which is not a lot of experience. So we're gonna get under and clean the ground up by the sending unit, which you'll see right now. Here's the ground for our sending unit. Like I said, from what I've heard, a lot of issues with sending units are the ground. This is apparently frozen to the screw, so that's not really the way you want to have to take that out, but it's the way we're gonna have to take it out. The reason I'm hopeful this is a problem is because this material is not very clean, so I'm hoping we're just getting a bad ground. That would be the easiest solution here. I guess the fuse would have been the easiest solution. Okay. It is entirely possible that this sending unit is bad, but this tank doesn't look that old, and neither does the sending unit that's in it. So, I don't know. I wish this wasn't like it is. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. Now we got some nice clean metal to ground to. It is possible that this, I mean, anything's possible right at the moment. The wire could be damaged going to the gauge. I wouldn't mind testing continuity there, but I don't really have a good way to do that. Let's go hook the battery up and turn the key on and see if that did anything. Probably not. I got good news. I got bad news. Good news is, I know why the fuel gauge doesn't work. Bad news, I'm not going to be able to fix it today, because obviously no one keeps parts for these things in stock. So, I ended up pulling the sending unit out, and there's a few issues here. For one, I just dropped that. For one, this is where the wire goes onto. It's supposed to be attached right there. It is not. That's a fairly large problem. I'll explain that in a second. From this piece, there should be a wire that comes off of it and goes to here. There was no Bluetooth technology in the 60s. So, that's a problem. Problem number 17, or whatever we're on. This should have a float right here. And as that thing floats up, it adjusts the ohms that come out of this switch that goes to the wire that doesn't exist, to the plug that no longer exists, and to tell you how much fuel you have. We don't have a float here. So, also worth mentioning, this is disgusting. It is full of garbage, as you can see on my workbench. So, now we know what we need, which is a new sending unit. I've already looked around online. Nobody has one, obviously. I see why they wouldn't, but also it'd be nice if they did. And even if you ordered it through Advanced or O'Reilly's, it is 3 times the price it is on Amazon. So I will be ordering one of these this week to swap out. But the biggest problem I have right at the moment is I can't move this thing right now. I need to plug this hole right here somehow. Otherwise, I will not be able to drive this thing, because that'll be just an open port to the gas tank. I did get lucky though. I know it may not seem like it, but I did, because the fuel level in the tank is about that much lower than where the sending unit is. So, when I pulled this apart, I didn't get covered in gasoline. So, you know, it feels like I'm pretty unlucky with all of the parts being missing off of this somehow. Also, those are probably in the bottom of the tank. Is that a problem? Yeah. Are we going to do anything about it? Probably not, if I'm being honest. There's always a positive spin on everything. I'm not very good at finding it most of the time, but don't mind my mess, okay? Everything is a disaster. Just pretend like we didn't see that. Hoping I can just... I don't necessarily need it to seal perfectly, but I would like it to keep most of the fumes locked in the tank. So we might do that, just throw a nut on there. When I say might, I'm definitely going to do that and just throw a nut on there. And then we'll just, I may even throw some silicone on it just to seal it up. I'll order the sanding unit, and then maybe next week, if I can make up some time, we'll get that swapped out. It's super easy to take it out. This is the gasket for behind it, and there's a lock ring that just twists. It's super simple. There's a million videos on how to pull them out. All the GM stuff's pretty much the same. So that's why I didn't show none of that, and I'm not going to. So I'm going to slam that bolt in it, crank that down, and get it put back together. And at least we can drive this thing in the meantime. Did you miss me? I guess it's only been like a second for you. I moved that thing, put this thing here. The brakes feel great in the car, better than they have this whole time. I don't know if I showed it, but I did bleed all 4 wheels, and the pedal feels good. So it's honestly the first time it's felt that good since I put it together. So we're good there. Now we've got this turd. If you've seen my previous couple videos on it, I've been struggling with temperature issues. And we discovered last time my gauge is broken. I don't know if that's I guess well, I was gonna say it would make sense to change the gauge and then leave the fans the way they are for scientific purposes. However, we're having an electrical issue with the fans where it's trying to burn the wires up. I'm guessing there's a lot of resistance in them for some reason or something. Hindsight, it's always 20/20. I should just left the fans on it. But the old fans. Anyway, I picked up this hot piece of garbage at Swap Meet for $5. So I'm going to throw that on with the spacer I showed earlier, and we're going to get rid of all the electric fans for now, maybe permanently. I do need to put a new water temp gauge in, which is unfortunately the mounting location of it is directly under my upper radiator hose, and yeah, so I gotta make a mess and spill out coolant I just put in order to change that. So that'll be great. Super excited about that. I'm not going to show you any of this stuff because I just worked on all this last week in the last week's video. So I'm going to get everything swapped out, and then we'll test it and see how we feel about this setup. It'll probably be worse, but you got to make changes to find solutions, I guess. Or just buy good parts to start with, and then it'll be fine. Folks, I'm back. I ain't gonna lie to you, I went ahead and ran this thing and bled the cooling system and stuff. I didn't think I needed to show you guys that. For one, I don't even have the right stuff. You really want to use like one of the funnel things that goes on the radiator and all that. I don't have none of that. Never have. Always done it without it. Take that for what it is, because obviously I'm having overheating problems. Anyway, here's what we got going on here. This is obviously that electric fan. Sorry. And then the spacer back there. That sucker moves. Did I say electric fan? I don't remember. Anyway, mechanical fan. The sucker moves some air. This is obviously not an ideal setup. I believe I could go. I might have enough room to go to an 18-inch fan. That's a 15. Which, you know, bigger's gotta be better, right? It could also use a fan shroud. And according to the directions, actually for the spacer, I don't have directions for the fan. It said you want a 1-inch gap between the fan and the radiator. Obviously, I have quite a bit more than that. But this is what I'll say so far. I let it idle for, had to be every bit of 25 or 30 minutes, bleeding the cooling system. I'd rev the motor up a couple times, but nothing like crazy. Just make sure it was flowing good and everything. And it did not overheat. It got up to, right at the end, it got to 195 degrees. And that's just like stagnant air. I went and drove it around the block, and it, you know, once you get air movement, it cools down. But that had to be, I know for a fact it was 20 minutes from when I checked my phone. And I believe it was longer than, I know it was longer than that. I bet it was every bit of 30 minutes. And although you might say, yeah, but it was 30 minutes and then it started getting hot. I was not getting that much time of it staying below 190 with the electric fans. And I was obviously having some sort of electrical problem either in those fans or something where all the wiring was getting hot. I actually found that the plug that was in the fuse block to get the power had started to melt also. So, have we fixed the problem? I would say no. But are we at the same point or better off than we were cooling wise, and also eliminated our electrical problem? Yes. And I believe I'm going to stick with this mechanical fan deal. I know it's going to take some different variations to get it to really work right. I need to build a shroud, I think would be best. But for now, I actually feel like I could drive the truck again. Which it's been killing me not being able to. So I'm not going to do it today because it's already getting late in the day and it is crazy hot. It's humid as crud today. So I'm going to get in the house before it gets too miserable. I lied. I'm going to bleed the brakes on this thing since I already got all the stuff out. And they've been needing to be done for a long time. So I'm going to do that and then get in the house. None of that is worth you guys watching. But if you watched this video, if you watched the last 2 videos, they've done better than any of my videos have done in a long time. I appreciate that. And thank you if you watched this video. And to the people who watch every week, I really appreciate you guys. It is not beneficial for me to video this stuff. But as long as 1 or 2 people are willing to watch it, and I'm still having a good time, I'm going to keep doing it. So, with that said, I will see you guys next week. Don't forget, if you feel like it, hit the subscribe thing. You know what? Forget it. I'm not even going to say none of that. I'm on TikTok too. See you there. Bye. I said bye. Go away.